Is it weird that I love selling? I think it is a little weird, but I want to talk to you about the psychology of selling, because once you can master this, selling actually becomes fun. The psychology of selling is fraught with barriers and invisible scripts. The idea that I don't want to sell because it's scammy, sleazy, slimy is pervasive. But using some of the frameworks I'm going to talk about right now, I hope to dissuade you of those ideas. But we're going to start by talking about the psychology and fears around selling. And like anyone else, I had these same fears when I first started selling. The first fear, and frankly, I think the most crippling fear, is anyone going to buy this at all? And for a lot of us, many of us, we launch something and we wait and we hear crickets. And that can be one of the worst feelings in the world. I poured all my heart and soul into this. I spent a ton of time. I actually spent a lot of money. If nobody buys this, I'm going to be a failure. The first time you launch, you're not experienced at selling. Your copy is going to get a lot better. Your product knowledge is going to get a lot better. And in my experience, my first product launch compared to where I am now, they're light years apart. Think about that. What seemed like a huge amount of revenue for a $4.95 ebook is now inconsequential to my business just a few years later. So even if they don't buy, you will know why and you will be able to fix that. Next, I don't want to be a sleazy, slimy, scammy salesperson. Now look at my material. If you're watching this video, you've watched me sell. You've watched me sell through email. You may have watched me sell through video. You've seen me sell. Do you think I'm a sleazy, slimy, scammy salesperson? No, I'll actually tell people, do not join this course. It's not for you. Or I don't think this is right for you right now, but if you come back in 6 months, maybe I'll let you in. You can be yourself, you can be authentic, and you can still sell. The idea that if I sell, I have to be super sleazy and put gel in my hair all day, that's just not true. There are a lot of people being totally authentic and true to themselves and also selling online. So keep in mind that that is a classic extreme reach barrier. It's like people who say, oh, you want me to get fit? So that means I have to go to the gym 7 days a week for the rest of my life? That's an extreme reach barrier. It basically means, oh, you want me to do this, so I have to go all the way here? Not true. If you want to sell, you can do that and be totally authentic without being sleazy. I will show you how to sell effectively and authentically in the module. And finally, a very curious fear that a lot of people have is if I sell, I'm going to sell so many that I'm going to have to do a ton of customer support emails, or I'm going to get a ton of refund requests. It's a very curious fear because they're already assuming an overwhelming amount of success. Classically, engineers are very afraid of selling too much because then they're going to have to worry about customer service. My answer? That's a good problem to have. If you have so many customers that you're getting 500 support tickets a day, that's a good problem to have. That means you have so much revenue, you can hire it out and solve that problem with money. So you should be so lucky to have 100 support tickets a day. You should be so lucky to have people asking for refund requests within parameters, of course, because it means you can solve that problem. You can hire a support person, you can pay to get the problem off your plate. Most people have the opposite problem, which is nobody cares at all because they didn't do their homework building the product. So you should be so lucky is a great philosophy, and I'll quickly tell you where I picked it up from. I was listening to a Mixergy course, and Andrew Warner, who runs the site and is a friend of mine, he was interviewing a PR expert. And Andrew said to him, you know, I see that a lot of celebrities, they use the same stories over and over. I'm afraid of using the same story because what if someone hears me say the same story? It just doesn't seem authentic. And the PR expert said, you should be so lucky that someone hears you twice or 3 times. Most people will never even listen to you once. So keep those principles in mind when it comes to the psychology of selling. All right, we talked about the fears of selling. No one's going to buy my stuff, or I'm going to be so successful, I'm going to be flooded with support requests. Let me share a few principles that I use on the positive side of selling. Number 1, if you're going to sell, sell. There are so many emails that I see where people will write this great piece of engagement content, and at the very bottom, as a tiny 2-line PS, they'll say, PS, I'm launching a XYZ mastermind course or ABC product. If you'd like to join, no hard feelings if you don't want to join, but if you'd like to consider maybe perhaps someday joining, here's the link. If you're going to sell, sell. Don't sell in a PS. Don't sell on some random page. Sell. You'll notice that in my emails, a lot of them are pure engagement emails. And I give it to you for free, and I make sure to tell you, hey, I'm writing this. I have nothing to sell. I just want to continue our relationship and give you the best material anyway. But do you know what happens when I sell? When I sell, you know I'm selling. I will literally say, hey, this is a hard sell email. Here's why you should listen. This course is amazing. Look at the results people got. I'm unapologetic about selling. If you're going to sell, sell. Don't just create content and hope people will buy. It's not their job to buy. It's your job to sell. If they don't buy, whose fault is that? You can blame your market, which I used to do. I got very bitter because I had created all this free content for years and years. Why didn't they buy? Shouldn't they give back? Shouldn't they recognize the brilliance? The truth is no. It's not their job, it's yours. So if you're going to sell, sell. Not in a PS, not in a comment where you're apologizing for selling, but in a full-throated sale of what you know is right for them. And that takes me to my second philosophy on selling. Be a trusted advisor. This is a concept I learned from 2 places. One is the great book, The Trusted Advisor, and the second one is The Strategy of Preeminence from Jay Abraham. What this taught me is to put my students, my clients, my customers at the center of my world. That means for some of them, my material is not right, and it's my obligation to tell them not to buy. For example, I don't allow people with credit card debt to join my flagship courses. I make that very clear. I don't allow them to do it because I don't think it's in their best interest. However, for the people who are on the fence or they're not sure, and I think I can help them, and in my case, I know I can because I've backed it up with data, it's my obligation to sell. So as a trusted advisor, I think to myself, if this person were my really close friend, would I try to get them to join? Would I tell them, you know what, I actually don't think this is right for you. I would probably come back in 6 months, or I would just go get this book from the library. Or I've had friends who said, Ramit, should I join your Zero to Launch program? And I said, yes. You've been talking about starting an online business for years. You haven't really done it in the right way. I know this course can help because I've tested it with tons of people. So yes, I actually think this course would be right for you. That is being a trusted advisor. You're not trying to sell to everyone, and you're not trying to hold yourself back from selling to anyone. You're strategically choosing who you want to sell to and who you don't. That's what makes you authentic versus being sleazy, slimy, scammy. Finally, tackle the right problems at the right time. Don't worry about having 5,000 support tickets. It's not going to happen with your first product launch. You're not going to get 25,000 new customers and a bunch of those are going to send you support tickets. It's just not realistic. So don't worry about that when you first start. I had a friend who was starting in our beta program, and she was very concerned about what would it take to create a $2,000 course. I'm not ready for that yet, etc. And my answer to her was, yeah, you're not ready for it. Don't worry about those things until the time is right. Look, selling doesn't come naturally to most of us. It didn't come naturally to me. My guess is it doesn't come naturally to you. But the difference between you and everyone else is that many people allow their fears to hold them back from ever effectively selling something at all. That's why they'll do these half-hearted emails with a PS at the bottom. Hey, please buy my product. Maybe, but if you don't want to, then don't. Bye. You are going to take a very different approach. Your approach, you're going to be very selective about who you sell to. You've already created a product that serves your market, and you're going to be the trusted advisor. When you sell, you're going to sell because you know you've done all this work ahead of time. So keep these principles that I taught you in this video at the top of your mind as we go through the rest of the module on selling.